Here I was working on a 2016 Ford Taurus, and I was changing out the mode door because it was stuck in one position. So I will start off by saying it's a tough job. This job pays like 2.5 hours, and it took me just about 2.5 hours because there is people out there saying that you can just kind of get to it from the bottom. And if you can do that, good luck to you. That's really great, but I could not do it. I tried my best for like a whole hour just to get 3 bolts from the bottom, but I could not. So I will show to the best of my ability how to do this job. So I want to start off by just showing where the bolts are and the things that you have to move to get to the bolts. Here you have to lay down on the driver's side, and as you can see, what I'm showing is you have to move this wiring harness to get to this bottom bolt, which is the easy one. And you can see that my finger was pointing at the connector. So it's the connector and that bottom bolt are the easiest part. All right, to get to this top bolt, because it's 3 bolts, and just be patient. I'm trying to show here that this is me putting it back, but you can see this top bolt is, you're able to access it with a 5-inch, 1/4-inch extension and a swivel socket. And you can see I'm putting it back in, and you are able to access it. And I was using like a palm ratchet. I wasn't using like a tiny ratchet because it's just they're just too big. There's just not enough space. So I was using like a palm ratchet, and I'll show at the end of the video the little tools I was using. And I think all of them are 8mm or 7mm. I forgot. It's been a while since I did the job. But there's a wiring harness that you have to pull down, and then you have to use your extension and your swivel socket and work on top of the wiring harness. Because if you're trying to work under it, you're just not gonna get it. And I was trying for the longest time to work under it, and I ended up finding out that you could just move it. It's held in by one fastener, one plastic fastener, and then it's held in by electrical tape on the other side of it. And now, like I said, I'll try to show what it looks like, but it's really hard to record, with a phone and laying down on your back like this on that tight spot. And here what I'm showing is that I'm able to get to this bottom bolt pretty easily too. It was only giving me difficulty because I was doing this with one hand and recording. And if you want to watch this at a faster playback speed, I would recommend that. But make sure you're you're watching everything so you don't miss anything. Okay, here I'm showing the wiring loom that you have to pull down. So as you can see, you get a lot of more space to get to that top bolt, which is really, really tough to get to. And then what I'm going to show right now is the fastener that holds it in. It's just a plastic clip, and you just pull on it, or if you can get some tool up there, you can do that too. And then here what I'm trying to show is the other clip. It's the clip stays on the car. The clip is connected to the wiring harness by just electrical tape, so you can just pull that out. That beige clip right there. And then I'm gonna zoom out and just show what it looks like. And they're not that far from each other. They're pretty darn close to each other. Like I said, it's just held in there by electrical tape, so you can just pull on it until it comes out. Just try not to be too aggressive where you feel like you're gonna break wires and stuff. And there's the new one already in. All right, and this is the bolt at the top. Like I said, you have to remove the instrument cluster, and even to get to that bolt, it's a little tricky. Because you have to use 1/4-inch ratchets. All right, to start off, I removed this bottom piece, which is held in by 2 10mm bolts, and then the rest of it are just clips. Then there's this metal bracket that's held in by 4 10mm bolts. Here I circled them, and on the most up left bolt that holds in one of the these switches, it's 1 bolt. I think it's a 7 or 8, and then this whole thing just comes out. It's just clipped on, and that's where the bolt goes. And then on the other side of the steering wheel, you're gonna want to take this off. I think it's just a temp sensor. and then you want to make sure you don't break that little tab there. It just pulls off. And then I guess I'm just showing a picture of what it looks like from the back. And then behind that, you're going to reveal another bolt that holds on that bezel, which is, I think, it's a 7, maybe an 8. Again, I'm sorry, I forgot what the sizes are, but most of it's 7, 8, and 10s. And I think there's a bolt here. I don't remember. I don't believe there is. There might be. I kind of circled it. I took this picture, and it looks like there is, but I don't think there is. I don't remember there being one. And then the whole thing just kind of pops off. And then just be gentle with it. Like I said, it comes out a little awkward, so you kind of have to put the steering wheel down as much as possible, and just kind of angle this whole thing, you know, in a way where you can take it off. There's this kind of like cover at the back of it, like a dust cover, that it's just held in by clips. And like I said, you're just gonna have to be patient taking it off. Make sure you don't break it, because it's a whole big piece, and the steering wheel doesn't come down that much. So I had to kind of like move the steering wheel as much as possible. And then I think it just came out from the right side. And then the instrument cluster is held in by like 4 7mm bolts, I think. And then behind that, there's one connector for the instrument cluster. And then that's about it for to get to that bolt. Everything you have to take off. Here I'm showing my little swivel socket that I used. I think it's an 8. And then my extensions, plus the palm ratchet that I just got off of Harbor Freight. And that's what you're going to use to get to this top bolt behind the instrument cluster. And then here are just pictures of what it looks like. And then here I'm just showing how I set up my light to get the best light as possible, because it's really hard to get to see even up there. And then on this mold door, there is a certain way to line up this one. There's one gap on all these teeth that so this thing only lines up one way, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And if you're unfortunate like me, what happened to me was when I took it out, the door moved at a different angle. So if you're looking at it this way, I'm sorry I couldn't take pictures, but let's pretend the gap is at the bottom. What ended up happening to me was when I took out the actuator, the door moved, and then the gap changed to being at the top. And the new one came with the gap towards the bottom. So either you put in the actuator looking towards the top and move the door, line up the actuator. But what happened to me, like I said, was the door wasn't moving. I don't know why it wasn't moving. Usually those doors move extremely easy. So there's 2 things you can do if this happens to you. Either one, you connect the actuator without bolting it down, and then move the modes so the gap lines up with the way the door is lined up. So mine was pointing towards the top, the gap, the door. So I had to move this actuator, the little gap, towards the top, if you know what I'm trying to explain. So that way it lines up, and I don't have to flip the actuator over and then move the mold door. But like I said, even when I did that and the things lined up, the bolt holes did not line up. They were just a little off. And I tried my best to move that door to get it to line up with my bolts, but they just wouldn't. So what I had to do was I had to connect the instrument cluster, turn on the ignition, move the mold doors to certain positions until the actuator finally lined up with the bolt holes on the HVAC box. And the problem here is that this, I guess you can call it nipple on the actuator with a gap, won't fully seat all the way into the HVAC box until those bolt holes line up. So what you have to do is, as you're grabbing the actuator and moving, you get someone else you tell them to move the molds. You kind of have to push it in, you know, and once it finally lines up with the bolt holes, you tell them to turn off the car. But that's only if the door itself won't move when you put in half that actuator nipple. Like I said, most of the time when you put in the actuator nipple, it's extremely easy to just move the door and then line everything up. But for me, it just wasn't moving. And the way I was able to see what position that the door was in is I used a little camera that I have, kind of like this, to see that it was the gap was actually now pointing up. So hopefully this helps you out. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll try to help you out. So yeah, thanks for watching.